Yeah, so B mode used to give us the image, exact image of the organs, and A mode was just giving the amplitude of the sound that is reflected. And going on to 1 minute. Okay, and then we had M mode, which gives the movement at each time interval. At different time modes, the movement it was given in M mode. Okay, so this is how different modes. Now, very important is to understand different artifacts. Why artifacts becomes important is artifacts will help us diagnose a lot of things, and the most important diagnosis that we do in an ultrasound is about the differentiation between a cyst and a solid structure. That's the most important thing. You can just tell it's a cyst, it's a solid, it has vascularity, it has no vascularity. Characterization is all based on the multiple interpretation that we use, clinical interpretation and all that. So the basic idea of an ultrasound is to differentiate a cyst from a solid structure, and we can differentiate a cyst, solid, and a very dense structure like stone. Okay, and air we can sometimes identify, but again, controversial cases, we always go do a CT, which is a better method to see air or stone or calcification. Okay, some artifacts, all the artifacts are not required. I'll go through only the important artifacts. Okay, the side lobe. Okay, the main thing is we need to know about the reverberation artifacts. Now, as I told you before, how ultrasound works. Ultrasound as the organ is in B scan, it will be visible as a C. Okay, again, one more principle in B scan, as someone has asked a doubt. See, in 1 second, as I told you before, in 1 second, will take up to 60 images. Okay, I told you one B mode means it is multiple lines along the X and Y direction, and we get one image. Okay, multiple lines, one image, that is one B mode image. Such 60 images we can acquire. Now imagine if I am acquiring 60 images, each time I am taking an image, it is of time interval. Okay, now time goes along with the image speed. This is like how we play movie. First, I display one image at 1/60th second. Next 1/60th second, I'll put the next image. At 1/60th second, I'll put the next image. At 1/60th second, I'll put the next image. So, as someone asked the question, if the organ is moving, okay, organ in B is moves with the B scan. Now, what will happen? At the second image, the organ appears slightly moved towards down. Okay, at third image, the organ has moved more down. Fourth image, it has become more down, and the fifth image, it is become more and more down. So if I see this image in a B scan, I'll be seeing continuously some organ is moving in one direction or the direction. That's how we get the real time image. Okay, so if an organ is moving up and down, we can see that in a B mode the organ moves up and down. And I have one of the image in which we can see the bowel movement. Okay, seeing the bowel movement becomes very important when we do an abdominal scan, because if there is good peristalsis, that means that it is normal. If the peristalsis is lost, or if there is increased peristalsis, that means there is something abnormal. Okay, so you have a idea of how a bowel normally moves. So if there is reduced movement, it is very bad. Increased movement is fine sometimes, but the reduced movement or absence of movement is very bad. Okay, so that's how even in B mode we can see the movement with time. Okay, in M mode we were seeing the movement at only one level. Okay, and because we were measuring only lines there. In in B mode we are seeing the entire image with respect to time. So if any point is moving in a B mode, it will be appearing like the object is moving. Okay, we can see continuously because we are acquiring image 60 images at least per second. So that's how fast we can image. Okay, now very important to understand the artifact of this echoes, the multiple echo artifact happens whenever there is air. That's very important. Okay. Now, what I told before was the reflection of the sound is the principle behind ultrasound. So the principle behind ultrasound is the reflected sound, and the reflected sound I call it as echo, and the sound that I have sent is called as a pulse. I send a pulse, what I get reflected, what I get back is an echo. So that's what I measure, and this reflection depends on the impedance of the two medium. The impedance is nothing but the resistance offered by the each medium. So the difference in the impedance is directly proportional to the amount of the sound that is reflected. And as I told, the bone and air makes an interface with maximum reflection. Okay, so that's why the air will reflect, the air will appear white, bone will appear white, stone will appear white. So these all structures will appear white. But one important thing happens when it is air. Now imagine there is a interface with air. Okay, imagine there is an interface with air. Okay, very thin interface we can imagine. Okay. Now we know that the air reflects a sound maximum. So imagine if the air has gone like this and it gets reflected back. Okay, it gets reflected back. So this gets reflected because here there was a soft tissue and it has hit the air and it is getting reflected back. Now it will go slightly inside the glass before it gets reflected. Okay, it goes slightly inside before it gets reflected, and then again it's getting reflected because suddenly it is slowed down here by the air. Now it is getting reflected. Now imagine, now again there is one soft tissue here. Okay, again there is soft tissue here. What will happen now? Again this surface acts like an interface between two different structures of uh, high difference in the impedance. So what will happen to this reflected sound? What will happen to this sound? Again it will go little deeper into the tissue and again it will get reflected back. So sometimes what will happen, multiple reflection happens and then goes back. Okay. Now imagine if it has got reflected from here and gone back. Okay, I understood. In the image, I put a point here. Now this has reflected 2-3 times and then going back. Now where should I put the point? Okay, where should I put the point? Now if it has reflected 2-3 times, you tell me where should I put the next point? Where will the ultrasound machine think the sound has come from? Is it from the same depth or is it from the deeper structure? What does the ultrasound assume? That is it from the same level or is it slightly somewhere from the deeper area? Am I audible? Okay. Yeah. So the machine thinks that the sound has come from somewhere, some deeper area. So what will happen is it itself assumes that there is something deeper and it puts a bright spot there. So this number of reflections happening when the air is present, it's not controlled by us. It will happen by the machine. Sometimes it will reflect twice, sometimes reflect 3 times, 4 times. So when we image it, there will be multiple times, multiple number of points which is created whenever air is there. Okay, so there is multiple points will be created where the air is there. So entire area below it appears bright, even though there is no structure there, even though it is an empty space, you feel that there is some reflection is coming from there. So these are nothing but the multiple echoes which are created. So that's one principle. Now one more principle is that sometimes what will happen, there will be some cholesterol crystals. Okay, sometimes there will be cholesterol crystals. So whenever the sound comes and hits this, it will starts vibrating. When this starts vibrating, along that point, wherever you get the vibration, you are getting some new sound waves. Okay, this will create a new sound waves. So as the vibration decreases, it becomes smaller and smaller. So we get some shadow behind it, which is very pointed shadow. Okay, this is one more principle of this multiple echoes. So these are the few artifacts which are computer. See, when an ultrasound, the image is processed with an assumption that I send in sound, it is reflected by one surface without any deviation, and each sound sent is reflected only once. So whatever the imaging processing is done in the machine is based on this assumption. So artifacts are developing whenever there is any deviation from this. Okay, so that's what is meant by the multiple echoes that are creating artifacts. Okay, the first thing is the reverberation artifact. Now, when there is very highly reflective surface, okay, when there is highly reflective surface, two highly reflective surfaces like this is one high. Okay, this is one highly reflective surface. The second highly reflective surface. It gets normally what we expect is one sound to come from here and go back, and another sound to come here and go back. But what will happen whenever there is highly reflective surface? The sound comes here, it gets reflected back. The sound goes to the second reflective surface, gets reflected back. Sometimes it will get multiple times reflected and then goes back. So that time, depending on how many number of times there is reflection, that many lines we develop. Why? Because it is assuming that it has traveled longer distance. Okay, it all depends on after how much time the sound has come back. Now, if there are two highly reflective surfaces next to each other, will you expect continuous line, or will I expect points after a fixed period of interval? Is it after fixed time of interval, or it is continuous? Is it continuous or after a fixed interval of time? If there are two reflective surfaces. Yeah, after some fixed interval of time, because this amount of time required for this reflection is fixed. So that's why after a fixed interval of time, it can be multiple of this, whatever the time taken for traveling this distance. At the multiple of this, there will be fixed interval of time, some echoes are coming back, which will appear as multiple lines in our imaging. Okay, so remember this. This is called as a reverberation artifact. Now, what will happen when there is some surface? When there will be plural surface. Whenever there is plural surface, deep to the plural surface, there will be lung which is containing air. Now, lung is containing air. Now, imagine if this pleura is highly reflective surface, because deep to the pleura there is lung. So there is high difference in this reflectivity. So this lung is highly reflective, and even the air inside the lung is also, so the pleura is highly reflective, air inside the lung is also highly reflective. So this will act like a two highly reflective surface. So whenever there is pleura is imaged with the normal lung, we'll see multiple lines at fixed distance. These are nothing but the reverberation artifact. We call it as A lines. Okay, we call it as A lines. It is okay. Yeah, these are called as A lines. Okay, this is what we see when we see the interface between the pleura and the lung. If we see in this image, okay, before this, I have to tell you one more thing. Now, the reflection happens based on the difference in the impedance. Yeah. Now, if you see, there are three to four structures which are highly reflective. They don't need any interface. Okay, they don't need any interface. If sound hits these structures at 90°, they will always give maximum reflection and they'll always appear bright. Okay, there are three structures. They reflect sound like how a mirror reflects light. Okay, like how a mirror reflects light. 99.9% of the light will be reflected by the mirror. So that's how sound reflects. Sound is getting reflected by these structures. So these are called as specular reflectors. So this will be a question. What are the specular reflectors that we know? This includes a diaphragm, urinary bladder wall, and the endometrium. Okay, so what does this tell you? Whenever sound hits diaphragm, it looks very bright. Whenever a sound hits urinary bladder, it looks very bright. Whenever sound hits the endometrium, it looks very bright. It is similar to that how the pleura was also appearing brighter. But these structures are always appearing brighter because they are called a specular reflector. The specular word just means that anything that reflects sound like mirror. That's all. Specular means anything that reflects like mirror is called a specular. The reason behind this is the way the arrangement of the fibers are present in these tissues. See, normally what do we expect? So this reflection usually happens in the specular because, see, normally the sound waves are like this. It has crests and troughs. Now, if the structure which is reflecting is not sufficiently big enough, there are chances of it is not hitting the point. Now imagine this is the point where the reflecting surface is. Now this is not sufficiently big enough, or the arrangement of this structure is not sufficiently big enough, or the packing of this is not sufficiently tight enough. So what will happen? The sound wave might miss the particles where it was supposed to reflect. That's why not every sound wave was getting reflected. Out of 10, 50% would have got reflected. But in these structures, like in the diaphragm, there will be tight packing of the fibers and there will be no gap left in between. So that's why there will be maximum reflection by these structures. Okay, they are still soft tissue structures. They will allow some amount of sound to pass. They will allow sound to pass through it also, but whatever the sound is coming and hitting it, it will not absorb. Maximum thing will be reflected back. Okay, it will reflect the mic. Unlike the stone or bone, it will allow the sound to pass through it. It will not attenuate the sound. So okay, if it is stone or bone, it will reflect all the sound and rest will be getting absorbed. So you will not see anything. So in this, you will see the structure brighter. It will not be as bright as a stone or a bone, but it will look brighter. But it will allow the sound to pass through it also, because it's not because of the density or anything. It is because of the compact arrangement of this structure. Okay, so these are called as the specular reflectors. Now, in this image, if you see this structure, this is nothing but the endometrium. So this endometrium is a specular reflector. So see, always endometrium looks brighter. Okay, so if we have to see at what menstrual cycle a patient is, you should see the thickness of this brightness. Okay, if in simple words, you see how thick this brightness is. Okay, again, there are different patterns of it. Okay, the trilaminar layer, all that. So that's not important for you. Just see how thick it is. Okay, as the endometrium becomes thicker and thicker, it is going more and more towards the menstrual bleed. Once the bleed has happened, it will become very thin. That's how we identify what stage the the patient is in. Okay, as the patient reaches the 14th day, along with the brightness, there will be trilaminar appearance. That is, three bright lines will be appearing. That's because of the endometrial arrangement. Okay, that's not important. Only thing, remember that as the endometrium becomes thicker and thicker, you can see the brightness in the middle, the endometrial stripe is becoming thicker and thicker. Now, this endometrial stripe sometimes can produce these multiple reflections, and we can see there is one more layer which is appearing like an endometrium. That is because there will be multiple times of reflection that is happening between the endometrium and the outer wall, because outside the wall there will be fluid, so there is slightly highly reflective surface. So sometimes you will see a fake endometrium or a structure which looks like endometrium and part of the endometrium deeper to it. So that will be usually an artifact. This is not important to remember. Just remember that the endometrium looks brighter. Now in this image, this, what do you think this structure in the pelvis is? What do you think this is a normal structure in the pelvis is? What do you think this structure is? If you're not knowing what this structure is, yes, yeah. So why, why are you saying it is urinary bladder? Why are you saying it is urinary bladder? Because it is appearing, it's appearing blacker. It's hypoechoic or anechoic, we say. And if you want to confirm it, you have to see the posterior acoustic enhancement, which I'll tell what is that, I'll tell later. Okay, why is it appearing blacker? Because it is allowing all the sound waves to pass through it without reflecting the sound. Okay, that's one property of the water. It will not reflect the sound. Now imagine if there is urinary bladder infection. Okay, imagine if there is urinary bladder infection. So what do you expect to see inside the urinary bladder? The bladder fluid will become, yeah, bladder wall is, urinary bladder wall is a specular reflector that is there. Now tell me, okay, the fluid will appear turbid. So whenever the fluid appears turbid, that means there are multiple particles inside the fluid. So how will the urinary bladder appear in an infection of the urinary bladder? One thing that we see is the blackness. Will it be equally black, or will it have multiple dots inside it, multiple white dots? Will it be blacker, or will it have multiple white dots inside it? It will have multiple white dots inside it. Okay, so this we call it as internal echo. Okay, internal echo, multiple internal echo. So now you learned a new term, internal echo. Okay, internal echo. Now imagine if there is a membrane inside. Okay, imagine if there is a membrane inside, not in bladder or any cyst which is having membrane inside. How will what will this membrane look like inside this cyst? What will this membrane look like inside this cyst? If there is a membrane inside the urinary bladder, think of it, how it might look in a ultrasound. Yeah, Zoom is telling hypoechoic. Zoom is telling hypoechoic. Realme is telling hypoechoic. See, if there is a membrane inside it, okay, this is allowing all the sound to pass through it. What will happen when it hits this membrane? Gets reflected. What will happen if this hits this membrane? Gets reflected by. So what do I see? I see a white line inside this urinary bladder. So if I see a white line inside urinary bladder, that is a hyperechoic line inside urinary bladder. Realme, did you understand why it is hyper? Zoom, did you understand? Because it is getting it is reflecting the sound, so it appears as a white line. Now how will I confirm it is a membrane? See, if it is one line, then it will be just a string. Now I move my probe above and below to see whether this line is continuous or it is appearing only once. If it is appearing only once, then it can be like a string. Okay, it can be like a something like a string inside the urinary bladder. But if I move the probe sideways, then it will appear white thing which is continuously seen here and there. Now, next question is, so Ayush had a doubt whether the internal particles, internal dots will appear hyper or hypo. Now, what do you guys think? The internal dots in case of infection, will it appear hyper or hypo? Tanish, yeah, yeah. So it will appear hyper. Good. It will appear hyper because it is reflecting the sound, and this reflected sound is picked up by the probe and it will appear as a bright spot. So it will appear whiter. Okay. So that's how we identify some internal structures. Now, so, but the bladder wall is specular reflector. How do we see inside it? Okay, I told you, no, the bladder wall is a specular reflector. It is not like stone. It will not allow any sound to pass through it. It is a normal soft tissue which is tightly packed. So if a regular soft tissue is reflecting some 20% sound, this specular reflector will reflect some 60% sound or 50% sound. Whereas if I compare this with a bone or stone, it will reflect almost 98 to 99% sound. So we are not seeing the deeper structure. Whereas in case of a specular reflector, it is also slightly more compared to that of others, but it will reflect the maximum. It will reflect at least some 50 to 60% sound will be passing through it also. So we are seeing the deeper structure. If the bladder wall reflects all the sound, why does it look anechoic? Shouldn't it be hyperechoic? See, bladder wall, okay, if the bladder, okay, again, bladder wall doesn't reflect all the sounds. bladder wall will reflect almost. See, this image is not clear though, because they have written there. See, specular reflector, 2 points to be remembered. Specular reflector, first proper thing is the pulse should hit the specular reflector at 90 degrees, then only it will reflect all the sound. If it is hitting at any other any other angle, it will reflect the sound in some random direction. It won't be picked up by the probe. Okay, probe will be here. The sound, if it's not hitting at the 90 degree, it won't reflect uh, uh, reflect back to the probe, so will not pick up any sound. And one more question, one more thing that I have to sort is, it will not reflect all the sound. Okay, it will not reflect all the sounds like how a stone or bone did. Okay, many are having the same doubt. It is not reflecting all the sounds. It is reflecting more than the normal sounds. Okay, normally we were expecting soft tissue some 20% sound. It's not a absolute value. I'm just giving you relative values. The specular reflectors will reflect up to 40 to 50% sounds. Okay, that's how the comparison. Whereas the stone or bone, anything, it will reflect almost up to 90 to 95%. Okay, that's because of the property of the tissue itself is different. Okay, so everyone's clear with that? Okay. So in this specular reflector, again, what has happened is, we know that wall is a specular reflector. It reflects a maximum sound, and it will have some air along the bladder. There might be some bubble present, and inside the, if need to check the ultrasound of bladder wall, will it be Galaxy? I didn't get your doubt. If need to check the ultrasound of the bladder wall, will it be clarified? Okay, I'll, once you just reframe it, I'll let you know. Okay, so there is the bladder wall here. It's a specular reflector. There will be some bubble around. Sometimes it will hit after this gets reflected, it will hit the air inside a bubble and gets reflected back and then goes to the probe. Now, such situations, we can see again the reverberation artifacts inside the urinary bladder, which will make us think that there is some pus content inside the bladder. Okay, here you are only seeing focal. Sometimes it will appear like entire bladder is having some white lines. So such times we will think it is an infection. Only thing what we have to do is we have to change the angle, because specular reflector happens only at 90 degrees. So keep changing the angle and try to get a urinary bladder without any echoes from inside. Okay, if the bladder wall reflects all the sound, wide, okay, that I clear. So, but if okay, Galaxy, I still didn't get your doubt. Okay. Now, one more important phenomenon that we see here is, this is what we see. This is important. This is called as, see how a pointed appearance of the reflection is happening. This is also multiple echoes coming. So there is no structure here because of a cholesterol crystals in the Ashkoff sinus. Okay, Ashkoff sinus are the normal sinus which is present in the gallbladder. Now, sometimes when there is cholesterol crystals which are deposited inside, okay, it will give some appearance of this comet tail appearance. Okay, this is seen in some condition of the gallbladder. Okay, so this is called as a reverberation artifact or the comet tail artifact, seen in some conditions. Okay, not important, this one not important to be remembered, but it is seen in some gallbladder pathologies. So this is one more important condition. Now, this will happen whenever there is air surrounded by when the air is surrounded by fluid. Okay, this happens whenever there is bubble. Okay, whenever there is in the bubble, there will be air surrounded by the fluid. Now, what will happen? Now, this here also, here it is not like the previous time. There are two reflectors which are far away from each other. Here it is very closely spaced air. Okay, air bubble. Okay, imagine there is an air bubble. So very closely spaced, surrounded by fluid. Same way like how it happened in the previous artifact, the reverberation artifact, which we saw, which I called the A lines. Similarly, multiple reflection can happen inside this air bubble, hitting the water molecule surrounding it, and it will give multiple closely spaced lines. Okay, multiple closely spaced lines. If there are multiple closely spaced lines, you will not see like a separate lines. It will look like one single white line. This is called as dirty shadowing that we see in the bubble. So whenever we see bubble, you see some reflection of air from it. Then one thing is that we always had a doubt whenever it is looking bright, whether it is stone or whether it is air. Okay, now what will happen sometimes whenever air is reflecting the sound, what do you see deeper to it? What do I see deeper to it? I see this dirty shadowing. This dirty shadowing is nothing but a ring down artifact. Whenever I see this dirty shadowing, okay, whenever I see this dirty shadowing, what do I confirm? That this is not a stone, this is air. That's one thing I get confirmed. Okay, now imagine if the same area, okay, imagine if there is bubble. Inside the bubble I'm seeing some reflection. Okay, inside I'm seeing this bright line here. But deeper to it, it's completely appearing blacker. Okay, deeper to it, it is completely appearing blacker. What do you think is present here? What do you think is present here? Deeper to this bright structure, what do you think it is present there? Some are saying stone, some are saying, okay, some are saying stone, some are saying bone. Okay, so deeper to that, see, it might be a stone. Okay, do you know about gallbladder ileus? Okay, I'm not telling it is always gallbladder ileus, but it can be a stone inside the bowel which has reflected all the sound waves back. Now, if it has reflected all the sound waves back, is there any sound wave to go behind it? There is no sound wave which is going behind it. Okay, okay, someone is not clear. Again, I'll tell you. See, if there is a stone here, it will reflect, I told, 99.9% of the sound back. There is no question of reverberation artifact or ring down artifact here, which was seen in case of if this is air, we were seeing the ring down artifact. Okay, here what do you see? We are seeing some reflection from within this. So it was appearing like a maximum reflection here, white line here. Okay, so okay, it was appearing as a hyperechoic line here, and here also it is appearing hyperechoic. Now, deeper to the hyperechoic line, if I am seeing some brightness deeper to it, what do you think of it? What is this brightness because of? What was this brightness before? This is the brightness because of the reflection from the air. It is a dirty shadowing. The reverberate. Yes, it is a dirty shadowing. Okay, this is what I think. Now imagine here what has happened again. Here also 90 to 99% of the sound is reflected back. Okay, here this is because of the in air it is because of the repeated reflection. Now, is there any sound to pass here? Is there any sound going deeper? Is there any sound going deeper? No, there is no sound going deeper. So, will I get any reflections after this level? You don't get any reflection. So, what will be the appearance of this area? What will be the appearance of this area? It will appear hypo. Okay, it will appear hypo. It is okay. Let's explain dirty shadowing again. Okay, no problem. So this is appearing hypo. So this is what is called as post acoustic shadowing. Okay, post acoustic shadowing. What does that mean? It just tells that all the sound waves which are supposed to go deeper has reflected here only. So there is nothing to go deeper than that. When does this happen? When it hits, whenever it hits any stone or bone. Okay, whenever it hits any stone or bone. So if you see any image, okay, if you see any image which is appearing bright, there is no completely dark behind it. What is it? It is post acoustic shadowing, which is nothing but tells us that the structure here is very dense and it attenuates all the sound either reflected or absorbed. There is nothing going behind it. That will tell us the stone. The last time someone had a doubt, how will I differentiate a stone from air? One thing I had told is a twinkling artifact. And the second thing is you will see the post-acoustic shadowing. Okay, so anywhere, if the question comes, how will I identify a stone from air? The two things we'll have to tell: post-acoustic shadowing, and the other one is a twinkling artifact. Okay, again someone had a doubt, how will this dirty shadowing come? Now imagine if there is air here and surrounding that there is water. This air, small droplet of air acts like a medium with very low impedance. Okay, air has very low impedance, 0.0004 something, whereas a soft tissue has slightly higher incidence, bone has very high incidence. So this will act like very highly different impedance. These two things are of very different impedance. So what will happen? That any time it hits this interface, it will get reflected. Now, whatever the sound which has hit the air water interface will get will be getting reflected. Okay, whatever is hitting in between this interface gets reflected back, and sometimes it will get multiple times reflection. So what will appear? It will, instead of that regular reflection that we saw when the two highly reflecting surfaces were reflecting, here the highly reflecting surface is very small. So imagine if you are getting multiple closely spaced lines, it will appear very bright. Okay, you will not see the black lines in between because it's very small distance between them. That's why we'll see multiple closely spaced bright line. This is nothing but the dirty shadow. So this is how the dirty shadowing appears bright. So on top it is highly reflective thing, air is highly reflective, so it appears bright. Deeper to it also it appears white. Okay, so that's the difference between how you differentiate the denser structure from air. Okay, that's one way of differentiation. Okay, so yeah, this is what I told. So that's what is a ring down artifact. See now here, okay, this is this is if this is the liver, if this is liver, what do you think this structure is? What do you think this structure is? What do you think this structure is? Okay, twinkling, I'll tell later. Okay, PA1, twinkling, I'll tell later. It's an ultrasound artifact. Okay, okay, yeah, this structure is something which contains fluid. Okay, something which contains fluid, clear fluid. So this is nothing but the gallbladder. Okay, so that much we have to identify. This is nothing but the gallbladder. Now below the gallbladder, okay, this will be superior, this will be inferior. So below the gallbladder, you are seeing something which is bright and it is causing this ring down artifact. Okay, what is it? What do you think this is? What do you think this is? Okay, some are telling air. Okay, so where is this air coming from? So what do you think? Where is the air? Where do you think the air is here? Ayush, gallbladder cyst won't have air. Okay, gallbladder cyst will have fluid. Cyst will always have fluid. Yeah, which, okay, someone is telling perforation. Okay, I wanted that answer. So someone is telling perforation, someone is telling bowel. So now you tell me, can it be perforation or can it be bowel? Okay, forget that. If it is bowel, which bowel comes here? That's important. Okay, which bowel normally comes below the gallbladder? It is not pneumobiliary. Okay, it is a bowel itself. So which bowel comes here? You tell me which bowel comes here. It's correct. Answer bowel is correct. But which bowel comes here? Yeah, duodenum comes there. Okay, the duodenum comes there. So that's how you approach any ultrasound. Okay, this is how you approach any ultrasound. Ultrasound is not straightforward like how you see in the CT or MR. I'll show you CT images and I'll compare it with ultrasound images. It's not straightforward. This is how you interpret. You see the liver, deeper to the liver, this structure. Okay, this is gallbladder. With practice, you will come to know. But then before that, how do you initially start it? This is how you start. Okay, you see a cystic structure. Yeah, cystic structure deep to the liver. It's always a gallbladder, deep to it, dirty shadowing, it is duodenum. Now tell me why it is not a perforation. Why it is not a perforation? Normally, if there is perforation, where should the air get accumulated? Where will the air get accumulated? The non-dependent part. Okay, it will accumulate somewhere here. Okay, it will accumulate somewhere here. You don't see. So what do we see? What do I see deeper to it? Yeah, under the diaphragm, Pratiksha, under the diaphragm only in erect position. Okay, under the diaphragm on in erect position, when on the supine position it will accumulate just on top of the abdomen. Okay, anterior most aspect it will get accumulated. Now if I see the bright spot here, if I see a bright line here, what do I see deeper to it? What do I see deeper to it? What do I see in this area? Perforation. I'm talking about perforation. Okay. If I see, yes, it will look all bright. Okay, it looks all bright. Can I see organs? Can I see any organs? Can I see organs? No, I can't see organs. Okay, good. I can't see organs. So whenever there is perforation, this is how the image looks. So that's how we confirm that this is not a perforation. This is some bubble there. Okay, that's one thing to identify. Another thing is, now whenever there is dirty shadowing from the top itself, where should I keep my probe? If I want to still see ascites, yeah, in ascites, if I still want to see ascites, can I see from top? I can't see. Okay, good. You have to go through lateral. This is how we do an ultrasound. We have to have a good idea about anatomy and good idea about pathology, and then we interpret it and then use a probe. Then we need to know where to keep the probe, and then we see the image. Image interpretation is almost same like the CT or MR. Only thing is a clarity is slightly less. The other thing is, yeah, from which side you wanted to see. See, if you want to see right side, you keep on the right side, subcostal region. If you want to see the left side, we can keep the left side. Only thing is we cannot keep on the bone also, we can do in between the intercostal spaces we can do, but at the level of the bone we cannot see anything. Okay, that's all we have to keep in mind. So this is about the ring down artifact. Okay. It's not required. It's also not required. Yeah, these are the two things we need to know. Okay, which I already taught you, but these are the two things you need to know: increase through transmission and shadow. Right? Whenever there is stone, see now what is this structure? What is this structure? What do you think that structure is? What do you think this structure here? Yeah, good. It is gallbladder. Okay, it's gallbladder. Okay, it's gallbladder. Good. It is gallbladder. Now this is echogenic area is the place where the hilum of the liver. That's okay. Now see in this area, can you see some difference between this and this? So why is this area appearing black? Why do you think this area is appearing blacker? Why do you think this area is appearing blacker? Okay. Yeah, answer everyone. See, everyone keep answering so that even if you do mistake, I don't know who you are, but you will learn better. Okay. If you answer fast, I think I can go faster also. And if you do some mistakes, I'll know what are the mistakes that I'm not teaching properly. So I'll know where I'm going wrong. Okay. Yeah. So Akshata is telling it's fluid. Okay. Yeah, most of them are getting it right. Yeah, so it is the post acoustic shadowing. Good, everyone is right. See here, we can see multiple dots. Okay, and it is showing this shadowing. Okay, it is showing shadowing. So this is nothing but the stones which are causing the shadowing. So that's how. Now you only if you get an gallbladder patient with the symptoms of gallbladder stone, you can just keep the probe and see for this. There is any bright structure, deeper to it is there in a shadow. That's all. Very simple. Okay. Now instead of that bright structure was there, if the bright structure was here like this, then what do you think? It can be cholecystitis. Okay, it can be pus incident. Okay, so you are getting it. So it can be pus incident. But whenever there is cholecystitis, what happens to the wall of the gallbladder? Yeah, it will become thicker. See how thin the gallbladder wall here it is. how thin the gallbladder wall? Yeah, it will become thicker. So if the gallbladder wall becomes more than 3 mm, then we consider it as thick gallbladder wall. Okay, so this is how thickness. Also, there will be fluid outside the gallbladder. So what do I see outside this bright line? This bright line is nothing but the gallbladder wall. Outside the bright line, what do I see? Along with thickness, what will happen? There will be edema. Yeah, I'll see a hypoechoic line. Okay, I'll see a hypoechoic line. So if you see a pericholecystic fluid, thickened gallbladder, then stones, all this suggests that it can be calculus cholecystitis. Okay, it can be calculus cholecystitis. Now, in the same patient, I see the same brightness. I see the same brightness, but at this end, okay, not causing shadowing, but it is having this bright line like this. What do you think it is? Yeah, so what is the condition? What is the diagnosis? Good, everyone's getting it. Okay, Jay, I'll come to adenomyosis. Okay, is this emphysematous pyelonephritis? I said all the condition: thickening of the wall, edema, plus there is some air inside the gallbladder. It can be emphysematous pyelonephritis, or it can be gallbladder ileus. Okay, why gallbladder ileus? Because even in gallbladder ileus, there will be communication between the bowel and the gallbladder. So all the air from the bowel can enter the gallbladder. So if you see air inside the gallbladder, then it is either emphysematous cholecystitis, or it can be gallbladder ileus. Okay, two conditions. Okay, and one more thing is someone was telling about adenomyomatosis. Adenomyomatosis will have a sign called as comet tail sign, which I showed, no, because of the cholesterol crystal in the Ashkoff sinus. Okay, Ashkoff sinus has a normal sinuses in the gallbladder, which will enlarge in case of adenomyomatosis. So in which we'll see comet tail sign. Okay, this comet tail sign won't be like this, completely obscuring the image or something. That is a small cholesterol crystal which is vibrating. So at wherever the cholesterol crystal is present, we will see some comet tails. Wherever the cholesterol crystal is present, we will see comet tail. It can be dependent and non-dependent. It is not like always anti-dependent. Okay, so that is adenomyomatosis. That is seen in the that is where we see the comet tail artery. Okay, now that is about the stone. Now there is one more condition. See, now this, what is this structure? What do you think this structure is? So this is a liver. Inside the liver, I am seeing this. So what do you think this structure is? What are the possibilities? It can be a vessel. Arjun is telling it can be, and Shravanti is telling it can be a cyst. It can be a sinus. Okay. Now the first thing is, we need to know whether, how do we differentiate a vessel from a cyst? Okay. Now, even if there is aortic aneurysm, it looks like a cyst in case of an ultrasound. So only one thing will tell us that it is vessel, not a cyst, is what? What is that? One thing we have to do in ultrasound to tell that this is cyst, this is not a vessel. So what is that one thing that I can do? Yes, we do the color Doppler. Okay, so anywhere we see cyst, okay, before like sometimes we need to aspirate a cyst. Okay, always the first thing that we have to do is do a color Doppler to see if there is any color uptake inside. If imagine if this is taking up color, it is a vessel. If it is not taking up a color, it is usually a cyst. But the shape itself will tell that it is very round shape. Usually blood vessels will be more of a long, and because they're more like a tubular structure, they're not a spherical structure. Rarely we get into like this circular appearance. Okay, and the size also tells us that in the middle of the liver, this large structure, it is not a blood vessel. Okay, how does Doppler tell whether a vessel is arterial? I'll come to the Doppler. Okay, so let's finish the artifact. Now this structure okay, is cyst is what we are telling. Okay, or it can be something which is reflecting sound slightly lesser compared to the other thing. Okay. Yeah, it can be abscess. I'll tell you why it not happen. First we need to identify it's a cyst or not. So this structure is appearing blacker. Okay, it is appearing blacker, and distal to it you are seeing some white structure. Why do you think it is brighter distal to it? Why do you think it is brighter distal to it? Why do you think it is brighter distal to it? So you tell me, if this is a cyst, it should not reflect uh, more reflection by the fluid. It is not the more reflection by the fluid. Now, if I send 100 sound waves from one end of the cyst, most of them will reach the other end. Okay, most of them will reach the other end. So what will happen to the amount of sound which is coming to the distal structure is almost 100%. If same place, if I had some other structure here, if there is a soft tissue here, if I send 100 sound here, how much sound will go beyond it? It will be around 80%. Now here, out of 80%, some amount will be reflected. Here, out of from 100%, some amount will reflected. Which will reflect more out of these two? This one, because number of sound waves I have sent is more here, okay, compared to the other side. So that's why the sound, if I send 100 sound, all the 100 goes beyond it. Okay, before it was like, out of if there is 100 decibel sound sent here, 80 decibel reached here, whereas the same 100 decibel, when it was reaching sorry, it was reaching only 100 was reaching here, it was reaching here only 80. So this appear is looking less brighter, this is appearing more brighter, because this is not reflecting any sound. So whenever a sound goes through any cyst, it is not reflecting any sound. Yeah, pure fluid is there. Yes, whenever there is pure fluid, whenever there is pure fluid, or any cyst as such is like a fluid, no, it is reflecting less sound. Even if there is some dots inside, also no problem. Okay, even if there is some dot, unless it is a soft tissue, it will reflect almost no sound. Okay, so only the dots will reflect the sound, rest of the areas will allow the sound to pass through. So that is the first thing is, to confirm a cyst, it should look anechoic, it looks blacker, and there should be some enhancement distal to it. This is when I tell that this is a cyst. Okay, that's the first thing. Now this cyst can be a abscess, it can be a simple cyst, and it can be a tumor which is necrosis. So how do I differentiate? See, a very smooth thin walled cyst. Okay, so how do you expect? It is not enhancement. Okay, it is not enhancement, it is the reflection of the sound is more here. Why the reflection is more? Because the amount of sound I have sent is more. Okay, reflection, imagine liver has capacity of reflecting 20% of the sound. Okay, liver has capacity of reflecting 20% of the sound. Okay, now if I send uh, some 10 ultrasound waves from here, from this end of the cyst, how much does the cyst reflect? Cyst doesn't reflect anything. So how much sound reaches the distal end of the cyst? How much sound reaches the distal end of the cyst? If I send 10, yeah, all 100%. Okay, all the sound reaches the distal end. Okay, all the sound reaches the distal end. So from this all note, 20% will be reflected from this surface. Okay, 20% will be reflected by this liver, because liver has a capacity of reflecting 20%. Now the same sound I send in the adjacent area, there is some amount of liver, so it is already reflecting the 20% of sound. Distal to it is not all. Here 20% less sound is reached. Out of this 80%, that is almost 80% has reached. Out of this 80%, again only 20% is reflected. So compared to this area is reflecting less sound. Okay, compared to this area, the rest of the liver is reflecting less sound. That's why this area apparently looks brighter. Okay, that's why The term is post acoustic. Okay, enhancement is a wrong term. I think you are getting confused. So you just use the term increased through transmission. Okay, increased transmission of sound here, so it looks bright distal. Okay, it looks brighter. That's all. Understood? Understood how to differentiate a cyst from a solid. Now I'll give you an example. Okay, this is an imaging of the breast. Okay, breast, and I had told you, yeah. I'll tell you abscess. Okay, I'll tell you abscess. I'll finish this slide actually. So this, okay, this is a imaging of breast. Okay, this is an imaging of breast. Now what happens here is, I told breast, this brighter thing. What do you think this brighter structures in the breast is? What do you think these brighter things in the breast is?
नहीं वैसे कम सा लगे ये क्या भूत घूम रहा
Can
है
someone mute everyone? Okay. What do you think the brighter structure is? It is a fat. Okay, fat appears slightly brighter. Okay, fat appears slightly brighter in the breast. Okay, in between the fat there is something which is looking blacker. Okay, in between the fat which is something is looking blacker. Okay, that is one image. Now the second image is also showing same thing. The breast is like brighter, and there is something which is looking darker. Okay. Now, if I tell you in this, one is a cyst, other one is a tumor, which one do you think is a cyst and which one do you think is a tumor? First is a good. The first one is a cyst, because we are seeing it is brighter. Distal to it, you are seeing brighter. Whereas here, distal to it, you are not seeing brighter. That's all we want to know. If it is a cyst, it should have appeared brighter. Here it is not appearing brighter. So this is a cyst. This is not a cyst. Okay, that's how you identify whether it is a tumor or is it a cyst. You're just appearing. You're not exactly tumor. You are just seeing that whether it is bright, whether it is a cystic or whether it's a solid. That's the main thing. Now imagine if this is an abscess. What do you expect inside an abscess? Okay, what do you expect? Someone had a doubt. If this is an abscess, what do you expect inside an abscess? Yeah, there is a pus. So how will it appear? How will it appear on an ultrasound? It appears multiple white dots. So turbid fluid. That's one thing you can see. Other than that, is the abscess is what necrosis. Okay, necrosis has happened. Now, will the necrosis will be this smooth? Will the necrosis, the wall of necrosis will be this smooth? No, the wall will not be this smooth. Okay, so it's one thing. Wall is smooth here. There are no turbid fluid inside, but it is a cystic structure. I know because of the increased through transmission. So that's why it is a cyst, but it is not an abscess because it is very smooth wall and there is post acoustic increased enhancement. Okay, why not duct with the milk? Possible, Ayush. It can be duct with milk, but if it is a duct, then you have to, when you change your probe away from it, you will see continuous line. Okay, the cyst which I was telling, the cyst, no, it can be duct as well. It's just telling that it's something which is containing the normal fluid. That's all. Okay, a duct containing milk also appears like a cyst. So this is how we differentiate the abscess or a tumor. Now again, if you see it is a tumor, what do you expect? You will not expect just like normal anatomy around. You will see some irregularity, some compression around. Also, the inner border of the necrosis of a tumor will not be this smooth. So that's why I tell this is not a tumor. Okay. Now calcification. Okay, what about calcification, Jay? Calcification will have, whenever there is calcification, it looks brighter. Posterior that it will look blacker. Okay. Yeah, so that's how you see. Okay, here there is no brighter structure. No, it's not a calcification. It apparently appears like a shadowing, but this is not a shadowing. Normally here there is supposed to be fat. Okay, normally there was supposed to be fat, which is not there. So that's why it is looking blacker. But posteriorly there is no whitening, so it is not a cyst. So it is something which is not a cyst. So it is something which is a soft tissue. Okay, so that's a main thing. Now Okay, high flow, low flow. And I already told you the difference between higher frequency and lower frequency. Which will look better? Whether it's higher frequency looks better or the lower frequency looks better. Which looks better? It's always a higher frequency looks better. But the what's calcified cyst? How do they appear? Calcified cyst. Someone has a doubt. How does a calcified cyst appears? Okay, calcified cyst appear again like inside the cyst there will be anechoic, but outside wall will be very bright. So there will be post acoustic shadowing. So deeper to that, we'll not see clearly. But how do I confirm it? You see through all around. Okay, you see through all around, and you confirm that it is a cystic structure. Slightly difficult because the calcified cyst won't be calcium throughout. It will be calcified some area. There will be some gap in between, some calcification, some gap. So you will see some wall is showing high reflection. Some wall is not showing high reflection. Okay, so that's how you differentiate a calcified cyst from a normal calcification. And size itself will tell us. Large cyst will be usually larger, and it will show enhancement, post acoustic enhancement, whereas calcified cyst will show shadowing, and normally there won't be large calcification as large as this. Okay, can I continue for some time? Can I continue for some time, or you want me to continue in the next class? Yes, sir. Is for next class or continue? Okay, I'll see the majority. Two next class, two continue. Okay, some others continue. Okay, continue. Okay, most of them want to continue, so I'll try continue. Okay. Yeah. So first thing is I'll tell you some principles about the Doppler. Okay, the Doppler principle is based on the regular Doppler principle that we use in the physics. What does this principle tell us? So this just tells us that there is a wave. The number of the trough that passes per second is called as the frequency. Okay, the number of it passes per second is called frequency. Now the sound wave is moving at a particular speed. Imagine 330 meter per second. Okay, here also it is moving 330 meter per second. This is the second wave of the same frequency. Okay, there is a person who is listening to it from here. He will hear it at a particular frequency because this will repeat at particular time interval. Now imagine if this person is moving closer to the source. Okay, he is moving closer to the source. Okay, imagine this person is moving closer to the source. Will he hear these peaks? Will he hear these peaks at the same frequency or slightly higher frequency? Will he be listening to the frequency at the same frequency or at the higher frequency? Yes, he is hearing at a higher frequency. Okay, actual sound which is sent is some frequency. Imagine it is a frequency of 10, but when the person is hearing, here he is hearing at a frequency of 12. Okay, the same thing in the first image. I sent a frequency of 10, and the person who is hearing is at the frequency of 10 itself. Okay, now the second condition I will tell you. In the third condition, the patient, the listening person is not moving. The source is moving. Whatever is producing the sound, the source itself is moving. Okay, the source itself is moving closer to the person who is listening. Now what will happen? Will he hear at the same frequency or higher frequency? Okay, again he'll hear at the higher frequency. So this is the principle of Doppler. So what happens when in the Doppler is, till now we were seeing the intensity of the sound that was going and coming back. Okay, we were not bothered about what frequency sound went and what frequency sound came back. We were just sending a sound and getting the reflection of that. Now what happens when I keep a probe here and imagine I sent a sound of 10 megahertz, or okay, 10. Sound goes, hits the lever, okay, comes back. Okay, sound goes, hits the lever, comes back. What is the sound that is reflected back? What is the frequency? It will be 10 hertz. Now imagine The same probe is sending a sound. Now here there is a vessel. Inside that there are multiple RBCs moving towards the probe. Okay, moving towards the probe. Okay. Now whatever the frequency of this sound which is hitting the RBC, whether it is higher or lower, the frequency of this sound which is hitting, it is higher, slightly higher. What is the amount? We don't need. Okay, it is higher, 10 plus X. Okay. Now this RBC is reflecting the sound back. Okay, this RBC is reflecting the sound back. Okay, I'll repeat it again. Okay, this RBC is reflecting the sound back. Now, whatever the sound it is received is 10 plus X. Now, again, RBC is not stagnant. RBC is moving. It is having its own velocity. Now, it is still moving. Now, it emits this sound. It emits the same sound, 10 plus X. Will it be of same frequency or its increased frequency? It's a higher frequency. Okay, 10 plus X, 2X. Okay, it will be higher frequency. The whole principle is that when we send a sound, there is a fast moving structure like RBC, and that receive the sound. When it is going towards the sound, it will receive at higher frequency. Okay, and when it is reflecting the sound, when it is moving towards the probe, it is again reflecting the sound of higher frequency. The whole point is, if I'm moving towards the probe, the sound which is received and reflected will be higher or lower. The sound which is received and reflected is higher or lower. It's always higher. Now the same scenario, you think that there is a probe here, okay, and there is RBC here. I've sent a sound at 10 hertz. Now I've sent a sound at 10 hertz and it is hitting the RBC, and RBC moving away from it. Okay? RBC is moving away from it. Okay. Now don't think about hyperechoic. Okay, this is completely different principle, Ayush. This is nothing like, I didn't tell how it looks. Okay, I'm just asking how does the frequency looks. Okay, how does the frequency look? That's all I'm asking. Okay, now this sound which is going here, okay, it is hitting the RBC. RBC is moving away from me. Will it be looking? Will the frequency be the same, or it is reduced frequency, lower frequency? Same principle. Now this is emitting the sound, but it is going away from the probe. So will the reflected, can someone mute it? Okay, so whatever the sound gets reflected is lower frequency. Okay, but this change in frequency is very small. Okay, this change in the frequency is very small. This will not change the intensity of the sound and all. Okay, like how we saw in B mode, the brightness is not changed in this based on that. Okay, of the image, brightness won't be affected, but computer will knows I send 10 hertz. I got the sound which is 10 plus 2x, or I receive the 10 plus minus 2x. So what does it do? If it is minus 2x, that means what? Sound is the particle is moving towards me or away from me. If it is minus 2x, it's moving towards me, or Tanishk, is it moving towards me or away from me? Tanishk, answer fast. Okay, yeah, it is away from me. Good. Okay, so it is moving away from me. So it just gives it one color. Okay, normally it gives blue. Okay, I can adjust it based on how I want. Practically, it can be changed, but for your exam purpose, it is always blue. Okay, if I am telling 10 plus 2x, okay, I am telling why 2x. Okay, 2x is, again, I'm just making the theory more clear. That's all. You don't have to remember 2x and all. See, ultrasound sent at 10 frequency, it is received by a moving object. Okay, moving object. So it will, the frequency changes here. Now again, this moving object is reflecting a sound. Okay, this moving object is reflecting a sound. Now this acts like a source. There is a moving source. So this will again change the frequency. So that's why it is a 2x. That's why I just used the 2x. And I just made I was just keeping the contents clear. That's all. Okay, you don't have to remember 2x and all that. You just have to remember the change of the frequency. If in case they ask how much is the change of frequency, it will be 2 times actually. Okay, yeah. So if I am written 10 plus 2x, then what is the change of frequency that is happening? Is it because of the particle moving towards it or away from it? It is because of the particle which is moving towards it. Okay. Now computer knows it. Computer knows what's the sent, what is the received. So it just gives the color of red. Okay, it gives the color of red. That's how we get red. Now you tell me, if I am keeping a probe, okay, will the artery take blue or the vein takes blue? SD is telling vein. Okay. See, you're good with the concepts. Yeah, it depends. Jay, good. Okay, it depends. Okay, it always depends on how you keep the probe. Okay, it is not always blue, but for your theoretical purpose, you always think that vein is taking up blue, artery is taking up red. If still the question, I don't think such question they might ask also, but if you see anywhere red and blue, you think, imagine blue is vein and red is artery. But always keep in mind, it always depends on how you keep the probe. If the probe is directed towards an artery, okay, if the artery flow is like this, if your probe is kept here, it will become red. If the probe is kept here, it will appear as blue. Okay, it depends on that. So in case of B mode, okay, this is very important concept I'm telling. In case of B mode, to get a good image, the probe should be kept perpendicular to the imaging structure. In case of a Doppler, the probe should be kept parallel to the imaging structure. Okay, parallel to, so that the moving object should come properly receive. Imagine if I am keeping a probe perpendicularly and measuring the Doppler, it will not measure any. It will not have any color uptake. Okay, that's one thing to be remember. Again, someone is asking 2x. See, 2x is nothing but I keep the probe here. I keep the probe here. The frequency of sound I have sent is received by a moving object. So there is some change of frequency x. Now this moving object is emitting the sound now. The moving object is emitting the sound. So again the frequency received here again changes. First time it changed here, second time it changed here. So 2 times the frequency changes. So that's why I have written 2x. Okay, this is a principle. Okay, I'll just go through it again. The same thing. The sent frequency is same as the reflected frequency if it is stationary. But if it is moving towards it, there will be increase in the frequency, and if it is moving away from it, there will be decrease in the frequency. So based on it, it will assign the direction. Okay, now imagine it assigns the direction. Now imagine if I have to measure this exact value. Okay, so if I have to measure the exact value, I know this is the frequency that I have sent. Okay, this is the level. So I know that this is the stationary should have sent change, zero change in the frequency. Okay, no, different frequency we use in ultrasound and Doppler, but any frequency we can do the Doppler. Okay, any frequency we can do Doppler. Okay, Doppler can be done at any frequency. Okay, now this is the normal Doppler. Okay, in the normal, what you expect? You expect zero frequency change. So if it is zero frequency change, it will just it will plot one point here. Okay, this is how the Doppler points the frequency. Doppler is plotted. Okay, one is color change. Second thing is, what I can do is, I know if there is plus 2x, based on how much is the x, no, how much is the change in the frequency. I know if there is zero change, that means that there is no movement. Imagine if x equal to 1, that means that it is moving slightly faster. If x is 2, it is more faster. X is 3, it is more faster. So based on the change in the frequency, I know how fast the object is moving forward. Okay, or if it is, that is plus x, if it is minus 2x, then again based on how much is the value of x, I know how fast it is going in the reverse direction. So based on this, I can plot how fast it is going front, how fast it is going back. Okay, both I can plot. This is how I plot a Doppler waves. Okay, so this is called as a spectral Doppler. So we saw A mode scan, we saw B mode scan, we saw M mode scan, we saw color Doppler, now we saw spectral Doppler. Okay, everyone clear with these things? Everyone clear with these things? Okay, so this is how I plotted a spectral Doppler. Now see in this image, this point is showing, okay, this is the baseline. Okay, this is the baseline. This point is showing it's a few slides. Okay, some 4 to 5 slides. I'll finish the Doppler, then I'll continue in the next class. Otherwise, it will become too much for next class. Okay, so this point, what does it tell us? At this point, what has happened to the speed? Is it very high or is it very slow? Is it high? So this is the baseline. Here there is no flow. It is very high flow. Okay, is it forward flow or backward flow? Is it forward flow or backward flow? It is a forward flow. Forward flow. Good. Okay, it's a forward flow. Now this is the minimum flow. Okay, this is the minimum flow. So is it the forward flow or the backward flow? It is again, this one is it the forward flow or backward flow? It's again the forward flow. Is there any backward flow in this image? Is there any backward flow in this image? There is no backward. Good. Okay, this is how normal aortic flow is seen. Okay, systole also it is going front, diastole also is going front. Systole again speed increases, diastole speed decreases, still it is flowing front. Systole it is again speed increases, diastole again speed decreases, but it is always forward flow. And also you have to know, okay, why it is always maintaining this forward flow based on your physiology. What is this effect called as? Who will tell me what is this effect called as? Okay, Kakakshi, I'll tell you. Okay, yes, good. It is called as Wind-Kessel effect. Okay, whoever doesn't know about Wind-Kessel effect, go read about Wind-Kessel effect. It's a Wind-Kessel effect. Now, imagine someone is asking how will this the backward flow appears. Okay, so here it is 0. This is 60 plus 60 plus 100. This is minus 20. So where do you think the backward flow is? As good J, it will appear negative. Okay, if it goes up like this and stays here and then goes up, what does that mean? What does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean first? No flow in the diastole. Okay, so this means no good. If I go up, come down, stagnate, then go up, no diastolic flow. Okay, if I go up, come down, and then go up, reverse diastolic. Okay, reverse diastolic flow or negative diastolic flow. Understood, Kakakshi? Okay, so that's about the, so now this, okay, now this image is showing the area of common carotid artery, then bifurcates into internal and external carotid artery. It is appearing red color because the probe, the movement of the blood is towards the probe. Okay, so that's how the color appears. It's a color Doppler. So the one I showed previously was the spectral Doppler. So this is again the spectral Doppler. So how do I measure the spectral Doppler? See again, this is like how this is a B mode image. Okay, is a B mode image. In this B mode image, I selected an area where I want to see the flow. Okay, this is with respect to time. Okay, the same like M mode. I'm measuring from one part of the vessel how much is the change in the frequency. Okay, how much is the change in the frequency? In M mode, I was measuring. Here I am measuring the change in the frequency. In M mode, I was measuring change in the position. Okay, in the M mode, I was measuring the change in the position. Here I am measuring the change in the frequency. That's how I see the Doppler. Okay. This is a M mode image. Okay, this is an M mode image showing the IC and EC. Why amplitude is reducing? Ayush, where is amplitude reducing? Where is amplitude reducing? Ayush, where is amplitude reducing? See, this is whatever I have put here, no? This is the velocity. Based on the change in the frequency, you are assuming what is the change in the velocity. Okay, because that is both are proportional, no? More faster the velocity, more is the change. Slower the velocity, less is the change. So whatever I have plotted here, no, that is the speed of the RBCs, speed of the RBCs. Nowhere I have plotted the amplitudes. Okay, you are asking this change in the brightness. Are you asking the change in the brightness? Okay, the change in the brightness is I can put the gain. Okay, I can change the brightness using a mesh, using a knob called gain. It will make it more and more brighter. It can make more and more brighter or less brighter. It's always better to keep optimal. When I say optimal, is when I see this very clearly the borders, and also there should be empty inside. This inside empty. Okay, here it is more empty, but here this is borders are not clear. Here the borders are clear, but inside it is filling. It is filling inside more. Okay, so optimum is when it is, that's not required for you. I'm just telling because he had a doubt. I'm telling that you don't have to remember. Just remember that this is systolic, this is diastolic. Here it is continuously forward flow. There is no backward flow. Everyone understood how to see a spectral Doppler, and also compare the speed. If you want to see the speed, see here what level it is. Okay, you will see the speed here. You will see the diastolic speed here. Okay, you can see how much is the speed. Okay, based on the speed, again there are a lot of interpretation. Okay, one more technique in ultrasound is a HIFU. We use high intensity focused ultrasound. Nowadays, like how we do radiotherapy, we do HIFU therapy. High intensity focused ultrasound. A tumor is there here. I focus the sound here and burn the tumor. Because the sound has capacity to produce heat. That's I told you before only. So it produces heat and burns the tumor. So that is the HIFU. Okay. This again the artery. Here we can see the vein. Okay, so it's again the same thing, spectral Doppler. See here, here the velocity has increased. See here, it is showing 500. Okay, velocity has become 500. That means very high velocity. That's because here we are having some obstruction. In this image, can anyone tell what is the problem here? Is it first tell me. Now let's approach. Is it A mode, B mode, M mode, color Doppler, spectral Doppler? I'm still in season 6. What mode is this? It's a B mode. It's a B mode. Good. Now, what is this structure you are seeing like this? What is the structure you are seeing like this? It's a blood vessel. Yeah. And inside that, we are seeing this structure. Okay. So that is nothing but the plaque. It's nothing but the plaque. Normally, we expect what kind of flow inside a blood vessel? What kind of flow inside a blood vessel? Laminar flow. So whenever there is laminar flow, if I keep a probe here and test, it will show red or blue. Imagine if there is turbulent flow. Can it decide whether it is red or blue? Can it decide whether it is red or blue? It cannot decide. So what will it show? It will appear like this. Is called aliasing. See here, it is looking multiple colors. It cannot decide what color. Okay, because it is only confused. Okay, it doesn't know what color. That's one thing you see. The other thing is, see the velocity. It's going up to 500. Usual velocity will be around. See, this is the normal velocity. See here, around 150. Okay, see the velocity. It is around 150. Whenever there is stenosis, velocity increases. When you keep a hand on the hose pipe, the velocity increases. So velocity increases. See here, the color is not taking up red or blue. It's giving mixed color. That is what we see in the color Doppler. Now imagine if there is stenosis. What will happen to the surrounding structures? When you palpate the stenosis, what do you feel in hand? What is that called? Whenever there is stenosis, aortic stenosis, everything. When you palpate, what will you get? Yeah. So what is a thrill? Thrill or bruit? What is a thrill? Thrill or bruit? Yeah, velocity increases. Yes. When you palpate, what you will get? You will feel something. Okay, you palpable. Yeah. So what is that? It is a soft tissue which is vibrating. Now imagine if there is soft tissue vibrating here. Okay, soft tissue vibrating. Will it change the frequency? Will it change the frequency? It will change the frequency. Now imagine what will happen if you put color Doppler here. What will it show? It will show some amount of color. That is called as the bruit. Okay, in the vessels also we can see sometimes Groovy. Okay, I don't have image of groovy. Let's see if I have. Okay, these are all not important. Huh. See here. See here. We are seeing some color taken up by the tissue here. Okay. Color taken up by the tissue. This is nothing but the groove. Okay. So everyone clear with the Doppler and ultrasound? Doppler and the rest of the ultrasound. The next class I'll be talking only about. I'll be showing few images. Okay. I'll be showing few images. So if anyone has doubt, you clear. See here again. One more image of grooving. Outside. See here one more image. Okay. The color is going outside. See here again. I'll be taking. I have images on lung also. Akshata, I'll be discussing some things about lung as well. I think sometime soon I'll be taking. I want to finish it off. Then after exams, I'll be taking any classes further. Okay, as of now, I want to finish the ultrasound, and then later I'll take classes later. So that's about it. Any doubts? No doubt. I'll share the PPT entire once at once. Okay, because entire PPT is there in one. There are so many extra points also. You can still go through the PPT. Okay. Any doubts? Please let me know today. You just be clear with the concepts, because most of the questions, even in NEET, you can clear with just the concepts. You don't have to know the terms and stuff like that. Okay. So I assume no doubts. I think I was too good or I was too bad. I'm not sure. Either you have no doubts because you understood everything, or you didn't understand. So, okay, anyways. Good night, everyone. Principle of M mode. Principle of M mode. Okay, principle of M mode. You took doubts in midterm. Okay, someone has principle of M mode. I don't think you have attended the last class. This is only for the person who has doubt. Okay, others can leave. I have already taught you this last class. I have already done. Who had the doubt? Are you there? Doubt. Who had the doubt of M mode? I forgot because it went off. Who wants me to explain M mode? Who was that? Pa, you had the doubt of M mode? Okay. See, Pa, I think you didn't. Did you attend last class? Pa, you attended last class? Because otherwise I'll go in detail. Otherwise I'll just go superficial. Pa, did you attend last class? Okay, you missed that part. Okay. So do you know how, the principle of B mode? Do you remember this? Okay. So each piezoelectric crystal will be measuring at different level. Okay, each piezoelectric crystal will be measuring from the different level. Okay, different part of the patient. Okay, if this is the patient, if this is the abdomen, at different level, different piezoelectric crystal. Okay, one image will be formed by such multiple lines. I told you last time. Okay, which will be taken of different brightness based on how much is the amplitude of sound that is reflected. Okay, that's how we got a MO. Okay, that's how we multiple lines will make one image. Such 60 like this, 60 images can be made in 1 second. So that's how we get a B mode image. That's why B mode continuously you see like a film. Okay, like our old projector film. Now the same principle is followed by a M mode. What it does is, you don't want to know what is happening other area. You just want to know what is happening at this area. Okay. So I stimulate only that area. So you get the brightness by each point of the tissue there. Okay. So you get multiple brightnesses there. Now what happened? Now everything remains the same except that this structure changes its position. Okay, so the triangle went there. So again, I stimulate the same area and I get an image. Okay, now the structure was here, which moved here. Now again, the structure might move back. Okay, when I image this, I get an image like this. Again, the structure moves one more direction. Okay, again it comes here. Okay, again the next image it is here. So we get a wave where whichever structure is moving. Yeah, the serial B mode is M mode. See, I'll tell you the difference. No, in M mode, in B mode, yeah, in B mode, entire image was repeating. Okay, entire image was repeating. So we are looking like a movie. It was looking like how in olden days we used to have that book in which if you turn the pages of the book, the bowling was happening and the bat was hitting. The boost you used to get that one book. I think you remember. That's what is B mode like. Multiple images, but full images. So with time, no, it is like it looks like moving, but here the time is here. One line that is at 1/60th second. Next line that is 2/60th second. Next line is at 3/60th. Next is 4/60th, 5/60th. Okay, so at 1 second, 60 lines can be drawn here. Okay, at 1 second, 60 lines are drawn. Whereas in V mode, at 1 second, there are 60 such images are come. Okay, so in one B mode, no, this is anterior, this is posterior, this is right, this is left. Whereas in case of M mode, this is anterior, this is posterior. That is true, but this is time. Is it understood? This is time. Did you understand? It is serial B mode, but at one level. Okay, it's a serial B mode. It's one level plotted in a graph. That's all. Clear? Okay. Any other doubts?